And that's what I did. I returned the Quran, and the receptionist looked at it and she said, "Oh, the Quran, how did you like it?" And I said, "It's a terrible book. I don't know why anybody would be a Muslim." And she looked at it again and she said, "Do you know who this is written by?" And I said, "No." And she said, "This translation was written by a missionary, an Anglican priest, whose life mission, he said it was to keep people from understanding Islam because it was such a horrible religion. And so he wrote the translation of the Quran with the intent and purpose of distorting that message." And I said, "Wow." And before I could say anything else, she reached down underneath the desk and she said, "Here, take my translation." She had the translation of Abdullah Yusuf Ali. And it just so happened on that afternoon, on that day, that I got the only Muslim, American Muslim, employed by the university library while she was on duty at the front reception. SubhanAllah. So I borrowed her copy, and of course, reading it was a much different experience. And it really was a shock to my system, a shock to my faith, because I could not deny that there were clear elements in the Quran that were divine, that were deeply spiritual. And it really spoke to me on a very visceral level. However, I hesitated at the beginning because I thought about all the terrible things that are going on in Muslim countries and all the terrible things that Muslims are doing. But I kept coming around to the core of the message of Islam, which is the belief in one God without any partners, without any sons or daughters or mothers or anything else. Just to believe in God. And to have that direct, intimate, conscious connection to this omnipotent being, which we have in Islam, is incomparable in any other belief system I've studied. And when you take the example of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the life he led, and all of the facts that surround him and his life that you can read in all different kinds of books of seerah, well recorded. This for me is just what we say in Arabic, usul. This is going back to the foundations, going back to the core, what is really important. And that is the belief in God with that direct connection, and the belief in the prophethood of Muhammad ﷺ. Everything else is secondary. Everything else is not as important. And I kept coming back to this. I could not deny this oneness of Allah, oneness of God, this direct connection. I really liked that. I liked that idea, and it really appealed to me.